Iain Lees-Galloway.
Thank you very much, Mr Chairman. I wish to pick up more or less where my colleague Sumaroni left off on the matter of the use of special vehicle lanes by electric vehicles. I understand that the policy intention here is to facilitate and support the use of electric vehicles by allowing them to use bus lanes and other special vehicle lanes. For instance, we've had experiments with lanes for vehicles that only have 2 or more passengers in them. And what I'm interested in, though, is not so much the policy intention behind it, but the enforcement, because it seems to me that is going to be very, very challenging to enforce the rule that only electric vehicles are allowed to use what would otherwise be lanes specifically for public transport. And I understand that this was raised in the Select Committee, and that the Select Committee's response was to insert new clause 17A. Now, clause 17A, if I can find it, clause 17A reads as follows. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Clause 17A, Section 145 amended, evidence of approved vehicle surveillance equipment. In Section 145(1), after moving vehicle offence, insert or a special vehicle lane offence. And 2, in Section 145(2), replace in proceedings for a moving vehicle offence with in proceedings for a moving vehicle offence or a special vehicle lane offence. Now, I understand that the consequence of that amendment is that it will be allowable for photographs to be taken of vehicles in special vehicle lanes, and that those photographs will then be used to look at the licence plate and determine whether or not that vehicle is an electric vehicle. Fine, that's one way of enforcing the rule that only electric vehicles may use special vehicle lanes. My question to the Minister is, as a representative of the government, what resources exactly is the government going to put towards the administration, I would imagine quite considerable amount of administration that is going to be required to go through all of those photographs, all of those vehicles, to look at those registration plates, to determine whether or not the vehicle is an electric vehicle, to then follow up with those that are not electric vehicles, to issue fines and what have you. Is this something that is going to be done through technology? Is there going to be new technology, or at least resources made available to the Ministry of Transport or the police or whoever is going to be responsible for enforcing this to be able to do this through technology, or is it going to be a matter of somebody sitting at a desk and going through all these photographs, sitting at a computer and going through all these photographs? I hope it's not the latter. But it's one thing for us to pass legislation in this House and to set up the rules and to say that this will now be possible, but it is quite another thing entirely for that legislation to be properly enforced. And my concern is that the concerns raised by submitters at Select Committee are absolutely correct, that vehicles that are not electric vehicles will be able to get into special vehicle lanes. It will not be immediately obvious, and so you then have that issue of bus lanes not just being clogged up with electric cars, but actually potentially non-electric conventional cars as well, and that the resources won't be there to properly enforce this rule. And then it'll become known that you can get away with driving in a bus lane, and hey presto, all the bus lanes are clogged up, and the public transport system is then put under extraordinary and unnecessary strain. So, I think the House, in considering this legislation, needs to know that the government has considered that as an issue. The resourcing that will need to go in to making sure that the new section 1451 and section 1452 as amended by Mr Chairman.
If the member thinks he can sort of get a bit closer to the detail of the bill, that would be good. I'll give him another try.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr Chairman. How magnanimous of you. Exactly how does the government intend to ensure that those changes made in Section 17A, new Section 17A, will actually be enforced to make sure that this legislation actually operates correctly? Another area that the Select Committee considered was the collection of the gas levy, and the Select Committee recommended amending Clause 13 to replace, rather than amend Section 23 of the Energy, Fuels, Levies and References Act 1989 to place liability for the gas levy solely on where the gas is sold by a retailer. Now that presumably is to simplify the process of collecting that levy, collecting the levy at the point of sale, and I wonder what consultation has been done with the retailers who are going to be required to collect that gas levy, whether that is something which is going to be simple for them, or if there are going to be additional costs for them in collecting that levy. Obviously, we want the collection of levies to be as simple and straightforward as possible, but again, because this is a change that has been made by the Select Committee, what consideration has been made by the government to ensuring that levy will work appropriately. So that's those are the only two issues that I wanted to traverse in this contribution. I'm sure there will be others, and I'm sure colleagues are preparing to rise to take a call as well. But if the Minister were able to address those questions, particularly really the question about the special transport lanes, that would be most appreciated.
Mr Speaker, Mr Chair, sorry.
The Honourable Judith.
Mr Chair, since the